Welcome back. Are you stuck? Do you want to get unstuck? Watch this video.
Welcome back, you guys. All right, so me and Josiah, we have some very important points that we want to hit on this week. We're going to talk about setting goals, and we're going to talk about fixing your life. So obviously there's a reason that you clicked on this video. Probably are looking for some sort of meaning in your life, looking for some responsibility, looking for some structure, some discipline. If everything was going exactly the way you wanted it, you wouldn't have clicked on this video. So stay tuned. We're going to outline some steps that have really helped us develop our lives and develop into extremely successful men for our age over the last 2, 3, 4 years. So stay tuned, and we're going to give you some tools that you can implement in your life to get yourself unstuck. So hitting it right off the bat, we're going to talk about goal setting. So why is it important to have a goal? Well, first off, we've hit this on previous videos. You need to know what you're aiming at. If you're a man without a goal, you're a ship without a rudder. You're going to end up just going in circles. You have no sense of direction. So how do you develop a good goal? So I'm going to talk about how I like to write down my goals because I know they work. So I write my goals as an affirmation goal. You probably know what affirmations are. If you don't, you'll find out soon. So essentially an affirmation is something that you tell yourself. It's self-talk. It's the message that you're playing constantly in your head, the message you're telling yourself about who you are. And then I pair that with a goal. So let's say my goal is to be able to bench 150 pounds, okay? So I want to be able to bench press 150 pounds. I would write my goal as if I already achieved that, if that makes sense. So I would write my goal, and I always want to express some emotion. You got to get emotionally involved. You're changing your life. This is not little stuff. This is very important stuff. You're making decisions and you're changing things that are going to affect tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, next decade. So get very intentional and get very emotionally involved in this, you guys. So I would write out the goal. My goal is to bench press 150 pounds. I would write out the goal as I am so happy and grateful now that. That's how I always start my goals. Why do I put that? Because I put that as stating it in the present tense. This has already happened to me. Treat it, act as if it has already happened. I am so happy and grateful now that I bench press regularly 150 pounds, and you can add, reps and sets onto that. But then, so that's my goal, right? So I'm so happy and grateful now that I bench press 150 pounds consistently. And then I put part 2 of that goal just below that. I have accomplished this goal by upping my weight by 10 pounds every week for the last 6 weeks. Let's say you're starting at 90 pounds. By upping my weight every week for 6 weeks and going to the gym on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Get as specific as you can with it, because if you're not specific, you don't know what to measure. If you're so vague, you can't tell if you're being successful or not. When you're specific, it is so easy to measure, and you can follow along daily when you're journaling. You guys should be journaling every day, writing down your thoughts, keeping track of your progress. It's when you're very specific, it's very easy to keep track of whether you're being successful or not. So why is it important to write goals like this? Just telling from personal experience, I kept a goal card with me. I still have it. I actually have about probably 50 of them because the card would get worn out and I'd have to rewrite it. A goal card that I would keep in my pocket. I'd have my goal written on there. And I'm in sales. So I wrote my goal as I am so happy and grateful now that I was the top performing salesperson at X organization where I work, and I'm earning X amount of dollars per month. And I was very specific initially with the amount of dollars. It was down to the penny with how much I wanted to earn each month. So I had this goal card on me for 6 months. I had it in my pocket. I would read it anywhere between 2 to 10 times a day. If it was a slower day or I was kind of down in the dumps, I'd pull it out of my pocket, I'd look at it, I would think about it, I would read it. There was obviously some days where I didn't look at it at all. but the vast majority of the time I was reading it about 2 to 5 times per day. Repeating this message in your brain, because you have to repeat it to yourself so it gets downloaded into your subconscious. You're changing your life here. You're changing the total trajectory of your life. If you're off by a few degrees, you're talking about drastic different outcomes at the end of the game of life. So be very specific, be very intentional. We've talked about intention in last week's video. If you haven't watched that, go back. I had this amount of money that I wanted to earn per month. I was reading this card for 6 months. I shit you not, pardon my French, after 6 months of repeating this message and this exact dollar amount in my brain every day, I earned almost that exact amount of money. It was off by like $50. It was insane. It was insane how close and how near on target it was. So get very specific, write your goals in the present tense, and don't take on too much at once. I recommend don't take on more than 3 goals at a time, because otherwise you're going to be spinning plates. You're going to have too much going on. And make each goal very specific to some facet of your life. So I just actually rewrote my goals, some things that I want to accomplish between now and the end of the year. Short term, but very important to me, goals over the next 60 days. And one was focused on my career, one was focused on my mental and physical health, and the other was focused on my relationships. There might be some other categories that I didn't list off that are more important to you, but write it in the present tense. Write it as if you've already accomplished it, because you're changing your life. You've already accomplished it. It's just we're living now, we're not living in the future, but you have to have so much conviction in your brain that you already accomplished this. You have to walk around as if you already accomplished it. Decision's made. The jury's in. Boom, done, finished. This already happened. That's what you have to tell your brain. And your subconscious is just going to work towards it for you. Almost like going on autopilot. It's kind of crazy. And be very specific. So if you're talking about money, exact dollar amounts. If you're talking about exercise, exact weights, exact times during the week. Be specific, I'm going to accomplish this by X date, X, Y, Z. So be very intentional, be very specific, write it in the present tense, and read it every single day. You have to read it every single day, a minimum of once per day. The more times per day, the better. Morning, noon, and night, preferably, a minimum of 3 times per day. The more you ingrain what you're working towards in your subconscious, the quicker it's going to download and the quicker it's going to manifest in real life. So now that you have a goal or 2 or 3 that you've written out, Josiah is going to talk about how you implement an action plan. So how you actually take steps every day working towards that.
Yeah, that was good. So basically, everything he explains is true and it works, right? But you need to have a few steps ahead of that, right? You need a plan of action, right? Once you get all that stuff down, you need to start off, number 1, before the morning, before you start your day, you have to set yourself up for success the night before. It has worked for me and Derek, and for me, because of my work, I wake up early, right? So I'm up around 4 a.m., between 4 and 4:30, but I like to keep it consistent, right? So what you want to do, you want to get a consistent night's sleep. That's going to help set you up for a successful life in general, but it's also going to help you accomplish your goals. So what you need to do is you need to go to bed at a reasonable time, okay? If I have to leave my estate by 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., let's say at 6 a.m., I have to be up, let's say at 5 to get 30 minutes of prep done, and then 30 minutes of reading or whatever you want to be doing exactly to fulfill your goal. Okay, so you need to go to bed, right? Let's say, for example, right, we're giving examples here. I'm waking up at 4. I need at least 8 hours of sleep. 9 or 10 is good, but if you can get away with 8 and feel good, then do 8. Do at least 8 hours of sleep. If it's 4, you need to be going to bed at 8. If it's 9, you need to be waking up at 5. You need to be getting at least 8 hours of sleep, but you don't want to be getting too much more, and you don't want to be getting any less. because, well, there's only so much time in a day and you don't want to spend all of it sleeping. Now, there's a lot of people, from what I understand, that work 9 to 5. You don't need to be waking up at 8. You don't need to be going to bed as late as you can. Maybe you go to bed earlier and you wake up earlier. It's all up to you. However, the structure and routine of going to bed at the same time every single night is going to help you accomplish these goals that we were talking about. Now, you wake up, what do? You need to get your stuff done to get out the door or to study or whatever it takes. But the point of this is to help you reach your goals, right? So we talked about setting the goal. Now we're going to talk about reaching that goal. Good night's sleep, and you have to wake up and you do not snooze. Okay? You do not snooze. Period. You get up and you get your stuff done and you go to work or you go to your business or whatever it is. But you have that structure every single day. Okay? Even if you're working at 11 a.m., even if you're working at 4 a.m., try to get up at the same time every day. Okay? This is going to help with your circadian rhythm, and it's going to really help you. It's going to impact your life. Okay? Go to bed, wake up, routine in the morning, go to work, routine after work, let's say, or school, whatever you're in. After, have a routine. Okay? Maybe you have a short amount of time in your day after school or work or whatever it is that you have free time or free play where you could either hang out with friends, go to the mall, go shopping, get your hair cut, whatever it is. But after work or school, let's say that routine is going to the gym. Okay, you get home, change, go to the gym, come home, free time. And then bedtime. And before bedtime, you want to make sure that you're getting adequate sleep. So you're turning your phone off an hour before bed at least. Statistically, it's proven to get better sleep. If you're on your phone, that blue light is going to mess with your sleep. Maybe that's why you're not sleeping so good. The point of this video also is because we know that if you're watching this video, you're interested in goal setting. Maybe you're interested in goal setting, maybe you feel stuck, maybe you want to get unstuck. That's what we're here for you to do, right? But you need to be consistent. Okay, what you need to do is apply this, but every single day, right? Be thinking about it. When we're talking about last week's video, being intentional, this week's video, goal setting, routine, affirmations, turning losses into wins, how to get unstuck, all this stuff is going to change the direction of your life, like Derek was changing. You want to aim to where you want to go instead of just having a directionless rudder, right?
Yeah.
So that's really important, right? So we talked about goal setting, how to set a goal. We talked about a plan of action, setting yourself up for
Success
instead of
failure. Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about what happens if you slip up. Now, before we talk about that, can we briefly give an example of a goal and how we may go about achieving that goal, and then we can talk about slipping up on that goal?
Yeah, I think an example would be good. So I'll be happy to share one with you guys. We're going to talk about some more stuff in coming videos, like, nicotine, alcohol use, stuff like that. But I want to share one goal right now that I recently wrote out that I'm working towards. So I am so happy and grateful now that I am in the best physical and mental shape of my life. I have achieved this by implementing a zero tolerance policy towards drug and alcohol use, maintaining a strict paleo-style diet. If you're not familiar with that, I recommend you do some research on it. And I am sticking to a healthy daily routine that allows me to operate at a high level. I sleep 8 hours a night, exercise a minimum of 3 times per week, and read a minimum of 5 hours per week. My body is a beautiful creation, and I will, to the best of my ability, only consume things that promote a healthy state of being. So that's my goal. My affirmation goal that's written out as an affirmation, that's a goal. So now what would I do to go about implementing that? Well, I put some strict things in there. I read 5 hours a week, and I'm going to exercise a minimum of 3 times per week, and I'm going to get a minimum of 8 hours per sleep a night. Kind of like Josiah was saying, 9, maybe 10 is optimal. 9's a really good number, but no less than 8 is very important. So I recommend, if you don't have a planner, I don't care if you want to do it, on a physical planner, if you want to do it on a calendar, on your phone, but you need to have your weeks planned. So I love every Sunday, I try and plan my week accordingly. So I plan exactly what days I'm going to the gym. Not every week everybody pretty much, you know what your schedule is going to be for the week. Sometimes some things can change, but I'm going to plan exactly what times I'm going to read. I plan exactly what days I'm going to the gym. I plan exactly when I'm going to see friends, because you need to have direction, and when you have your days and your weeks and your months planned out, it's so much easier to stick to it, because you automatically know what you're doing next. You almost have things on autopilot, like I said earlier. Like, there's certain things that I do that are a part of my routine every day. When I get home from work, I unpack my lunch, I put whatever dishes for my lunch in the dishwasher, and then I pack my lunch again for the next day. I put some boiling water on the stove to have some tea. There's certain things that I do every day. After my tea, I brush my teeth, drink a full glass of water, and then I put a podcast on playing in the background while I fall asleep. Just something that I do at night to get me ready and make sure that I'm well rested for the next day. You need to implement these things, and you need to find out what works for you, and what you do might be different depending on the goals that you're trying to achieve. Maybe you're already in great physical shape and you look really good, and you just want to maintain that, maybe by going to the gym once or twice a week, but maybe you've never read a book your entire life. Maybe you're kind of ignorant to all the information that's out there. Well, now your goal might be different. Maybe you should start reading 10 hours a week, not 5, or whatever. So now what happens if you slip up? What happens? The biggest part of these goals is reading them every single day, because it's going to stay at the forefront of your brain and your subconscious, and you're not even going to have to think about what you're working towards, because it's so ingrained into your subconscious where you won't even have to think about it. You already know what you're working towards. It's natural. So read your goals every single day. So now if you slip up, let's say you go 2-3 weeks without reading your goals. Maybe you set your goal to read 1 book per month, and you're going to achieve that by reading X amount of hours per week, or going to the gym, XYZ, whatever. Let's say you've pretty much haven't done that for like 2-3 weeks. You're kind of depressed, you get home from work and you vape and you drink and you watch Netflix, or play video games for 4-6 hours or 10 hours until 2 in the morning. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are watching that might do that regularly. It goes back to reading your goals, and it goes back to getting emotionally involved. The biggest changes I've ever made in my life was when my emotional involvement was at its highest. When I was in tears, when I was angry, when I felt abandoned, fed up, just sick of and tired of it. When my emotional state, depending on the exact emotion, was highest, that's always when I've implemented the most change. So you need to figure out how to get emotionally involved. There's a few people online that I listen to, and one guy that I listen to in particular, he said that when he was making drastic changes in his early to mid 20s, he would always think about his father's funeral. Kind of weird, kind of gruesome, right? But he would think about his father's funeral, and all of his family and everybody there that would be crying and be so sad. And he thought about, when my dad someday dies, who's the man that I want to be? I want to be the guy that can pick up all the pieces and plan the funeral and do everything that needs to be done without crumbling and falling to pieces. There's also, so think about your future. Think about where you want to be 10, 15, 20 years down the road. But you need to, when you're getting off track, you need to get emotionally involved. So it goes back to reading your goals. Do you have any input on that, Josiah, about when you do find yourself slipping up?
Yeah, I can share something real briefly, I guess, but we're going to have to wrap up.
Yeah, pretty soon here. Yeah, we got to get going. It might be a part 2.
Yeah, there might be a part 2 here. So stick around. But no, I definitely agree with everything you said, Derek. And when you're stuck in a rut, you need something like this, right? You do. We've been there, and we're hoping to be that for you right now. And we're gonna help pull you out of that and get you on your feet and start walking. Okay? And if you take some notes on what we just shared today, we guarantee you 100% that it will help you. And it will change your life if you consistently apply setting goals, creating a plan of action, getting good sleep, and striving to be better than you were yesterday. We'll see you in the next one.